Monk, quite possibly one of the worst classes in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, with their saving grace being they can be quite good at ranged skirmishing, and Shadow Monk is good at casting Pass Without Trace for the party. In Baldur's Gate, Monk is completely different, so let's see if it's actually good in this game. Welcome to Pack Tactics, where everyone likes kung fu fighting. In this video, I will mostly be staying away from assuming what I believe to be bugs regarding damage riders increasing the damage. I will be covering the intended stuff, or what I believe to be intended. There will be math, and I'll list my assumptions when we get there. Kobold, how did they change Monk? Here's the summary from the Baldur's Gate 3 wiki. I'll link this resource down below. It's amazing. The biggest things here are that you get more ki, you get it faster, Monk weapons include anything you're proficient in, which includes multiclassing, by the way, and something not noted here is that your unarmed damage increases earlier. Haha, I got you, wiki. Anyways, I'll mostly be focusing on the open hand monk for my analysis. It is important to note that at level 6, they now get to do 1d4 plus wisdom modifier extra damage on unarmed attacks at all times. And as a bonus action, they can regain half their ki, heal, and for 3 rounds get an additional bonus action, and regain 1 ki point every round. There's more changes, but read the wiki if you want to know everything. While these are obviously nice changes for Monk, the game balance itself has also shifted due to other mechanical changes. A big one is that being a melee combatant is not as bad as it is in D&D 5e. Enemies will be able to get to you. Both kiting and control have become overall worse. Well, I mean, it depends what you're casting when it comes to control. It doesn't really matter if it is one or multiple, because killing them while they funnel is fine too. You don't have to go up to them. Really, they'll just get to you. Even like ranged enemies and spellcasters will run up to you if you're behind a wall. In D&D 5e, they have ready action, so you can't fully take advantage of that. There's multiple other factors, and they're not in Baldur's Gate, so this is a boon. Another massive one is the changes to Tavern Brawler. In D&D 5e, this feat is basically just a meme. I mean, it's fun and all that, but it's garbage. In Baldur's Gate 3, this is fantastic. It allows you to add your strength modifier to both the attack and damage rolls. My friend Moonsilver once did damage calculations, and he made Great Weapon Master do +5 to hit and +10 damage by accident. And he noted that the damage numbers seemed fine. This feat basically does that. Well, of course, it's not as extreme as that, but it is similar. If you do attacks with strength and you have, for example, a score of 18, you get a +4 bonus to hit and to damage. That's great. This enhances your unarmed attacks so much that this is basically a must pick for monks. And finally, there's just a galore of magic items that work for Monk. In D&D 5e, there's barely anything. There's barely anything for even official material. You have to beg your DM to make magic items for Monk, or just search up third-party stuff. Anyways, the point is, with all of these changes, I believe Monk is actually a really good damage dealer. It's fantastic. You know what I also think is fantastic? Creating your own worlds with World Anvil. If you're a creative type like an artist, dungeon master, or writer that really wants to train your creative muscles, then this is the perfect tool for you. It gives you a ton of ideas. There's also a lot of guides, and there's a dedicated community creating all sorts of crazy stuff, be it sci-fi, horror, medieval fantasy, you name it. World Anvil will help you organize everything. Lore will be easier to keep track of. Be it powerful historical people, countries, different types of wars, resources, gods, and so on. And you can look at other people's stuff for inspiration too. I remember when I ran my Curse of Strahd campaign many years ago, I took ideas from World Anvil and put them in my campaign. There's also the maps. This is like Google Maps but for your own world. I think this is incredibly fun. There's just so much customization here you won't believe. I highly recommend checking out World Anvil. Use the code PACK at the checkout and you'll get a 40% off any yearly subscription. Back to the video. But Kobold, how would you build a monk? That is an important part of evaluating the capabilities of the monk, so let's take a look. By the way, I can't look at literally every scenario, so I'll compare a few that I believe will be useful for you. Like in D&D 5e, it's really important to rush to level 5 to get that extra attack as soon as possible. On your way there, choose Way of the Open Hand and pick Tavern Brawler at level 4. Also on your way there, use an actual weapon. As soon as you get Tavern Brawler, ditch the weapon. Now back to that level 5 I talked about. So when you get extra attack, you can make 3 attacks per round using Monk Martial Arts. Or even 4 if you're willing to invest ki using Flurry of Blows. In general, monks are quite reliant on their bonus action for their damage output, so keep that in mind during play. At level 6, I would take another level in Monk as it's a damage increase. And the extra bonus action from Wholeness of Body allows you to go all out once per day. But Kobold, you haven't even talked about the stats! That's like the most important part! Good point, but we're still at the start of the build. This is just a stepping stone. But you're correct, so let's talk about it now. Elixirs. These are single target, single use potions that grant you a benefit until you long rest. For monks specifically, there are 2 options that are particularly interesting. Elixirs that change your strength score, that's Elixir of Hill Giant, which is 21 strength, that's a +5 mod. Or Cloud Giant Strength, that gives you 27 strength, that's a +8 mod. And then you have Elixirs of Bloodlust, which grants you an additional action once per turn if you kill someone. The problem is you can only use one of these elixirs at once. And the choice of elixir affects your choice during character creation or point buy. Don't worry about acquiring them, by the way. During Act 1, you can easily get elixirs of Bloodlust as well as elixirs of Hill Giant Strength. Both of them are craftable. Sometimes you can buy them at stores, sometimes you just find them. I'll link their wiki pages down below, by the way. The Cloud Giant Strength Elixir is technically obtainable, but it's a bit finicky. And until Act 3, there is no easy way to gain more. So I'll only assume those are an option around the level range of Act 3. I'll do the math at level 6, and then I'll talk about how it would change depending on level and magic items. For now, I assume 16 Wisdom for both options. The monk that drinks Bloodlust potions has 18 strength. They get that 18 from the Tavern Brawler, by the way. The other monk gets 21 strength through the Elixir of Hill Giant Strength. On a hit, you do 1d6 plus another 1d6 plus 3 from Open Hand plus twice your strength modifier. Your proficiency bonus at level 6 is 3, which means that your DPR comparison looks like this. This is assuming you don't use ki. On the left, you can see DPR. The horizontal axis is AC. On the right, you can see uptime for Bloodlust. With required uptime, the green bars, I mean how often you need to kill someone on your turn. From AC 15 to 19, it's all around 40% of the time. This means you need to kill a creature in less than half of your turns in combat to keep up or beat the damage of Hill Giant Elixir. That's quite manageable, I would say, especially considering how initiative is grouped very often, allowing you to bring enemies low with your other party members. However, without multiclassing, this would result your AC being pretty bad, as you don't have proficiency in heavy armor, and thus your AC is based on your dexterity score, which admittedly can't be very high with wisdom at 16 and strength at 17 at character creation. If you can manage, go for Bloodlust. Alternatively, don't dump your dexterity, and instead dump your strength, and make up for it with the elixir. Generally, if you have magic items that increase your hit chance, Bloodlust becomes better, as it's a bigger relative increase. If you have items that increase your damage on a hit, Bloodlust also becomes better as you are hitting more often with it. So let me finally answer you, Gator. I would personally start off with these stats. Both because you don't have Tavern Brawler at level 1, and because you get Elixirs of Hill Giant Strength by the time you do. At late Act 1, there is the possibility for Gloves of Dexterity, which sets your Dexterity to 18, at which point you want to change this around once more. Do you understand, Gator? Oh, he fell asleep. Of course he did. Anyways, let's fast forward a bit. After level 6, there are 2 avenues. In general, we want Thief Rogue 3 by level 9, as it gives us Fast Hands, which is an extra bonus action. This is a better bang for your buck than the other alternative choices. However, the way we get there can be improved if we make use of respecking. You can absolutely take 3 rogue levels in a row, but the first 2 levels in rogue are not that great. If you want to use the respecking options, pick Light Cleric 1 at level 7 for Warding Flare and more, and Light Cleric 2 at level 8 for Channel Divinity, which is based on your overall level, not your cleric level. Then at level 9, respec to Monk 6, Rogue 3. Around Act 3, you can be at around level 10. Another important choice now. Should we move to using Elixirs of Cloud Giant Strength? Or instead change to using Elixirs of Bloodlust? If we assume our 10th level is in Rogue 4 to get a Strength ASI, we'd be comparing 27 Strength versus 20 Strength. That's a +8 versus a +5 modifier. With a proficiency bonus of 4, the number now looks like this. The numbers for using Cloud Giant Strength Elixir is a lot higher than Bloodlust. So much so that AC 17 and onwards were literally unable to compete. However, there's a catch. There are 2 ways to increase our strength further, up to 24 in fact. One is in Act 2, and another is in Act 3. If you don't want to see any spoilers, move to this timeline. First in Act 2 at Moonrise, there's this drow lady over here. If you bring Astarion with you, she will offer you a potion of everlasting vigor, which increases your strength by 2. If Astarion bites her, you get the potion. Second is in Act 3, at the House of Grief. At the very end of the dungeon, you'll find a Mirror of Loss. This thing gives you +2 bonus to 1 stat, which includes strength. There is a check you need to succeed to get this, by the way. Spoilers over. If we get our strength to 22 instead, the results look like this. This looks a lot more reasonable. With all 3, it would look like this at 24 strength. We still have a problem with bad AC when using the Bloodlust Elixir. So to solve that, at level 10, respec to start with a level in Fighter, then 6 levels in Monk, and 3 levels in Rogue. Yes, using heavy armor makes you lose out on unarmored movement, but it's not that big of a deal. Another option you have is you can pick up a certain heavy armor piece that doesn't require proficiency. It also works with unarmored movement, by the way. If so, you'll probably prefer that. That's basically the build. If you went with another rogue level to increase your strength, that's not a bad idea. For level 12, I'd go with either Action Surge through Fighter 2, or I would get Light Cleric 1 again. That's for Warding Flare and spells, of course. That's basically it. If you want to see more of this sort of content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to support me on Patreon, you can. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.